Hey guys, just another day at the ranch. Um, Welcome back. And if you haven't been here before, welcome to the channel. Rebuild Ranch, working on CX500 right now, and going to do some mods and cutting and welding and having some fun. Today's project, I'm going to take the cross member off of the back seat, cut the welds off as best I can, remove the bracket, take off the rear peg mounts, a couple other little brackets, clean up the frame a little bit. Now what I've decided to do, which is a little different than what everybody else does, which is fine, that's what I want to do, try to do something different. This pressed tube frame, which is made out of two pieces of pressed metal. Well, I'll do a thing on the board here and show you what it's about. I'll show you what I'm going to do and just give you a little explanation, and we're going to try it out, see if it works. If it doesn't work, whole nother plan after that. But I want to try it. I want to do something a little bit different than everybody's doing. And is it easy? Nope. Is it difficult? Yep. But it'll make it fun to watch, and I'll show you the failures and the successes. Okay, so let's get on with it. I'll do a little thing on the board here. Hang on. Okay, our plan today is to cut off all the bracketry and stuff, and then we're going to start. We need to form some pieces of flat sheet that become a tube. The way they do it at the factory is pretty obvious. If any of you guys have cut this stuff up, you understand what it is. It was a flat piece of steel. Then they made a form block like that. They pressed the steel onto the form block, and the finished piece of steel looks like that. And they trim it off here, make two of them, flip them over so they look like this. And then they weld it here and they weld it here. Stand it on edge the way the tube is. Little seam at the top, comes down, rolls out in and down on both sides, making a square tube with a bead here and here. And I'm going to try to recreate the same thing. What we're going to try to do is form a piece that's not only flat, it's compound. It goes around the back to make the hoop, the rear hoop. If we look at it straight down from the top of the bike, we've got one coming out each side like this. Shocks mount on here, shock mounts on here. Right now these go out here and they end. I'm going to cut them off in here, cut them off in here. I'm going to make form blocks to make a piece that does this. That looks like it came from the factory. That's what we're going to attempt to do. It's a lot of forming, a lot of bashing on metal to get it to work out. But let's try it out. Let's see if we can do something a little different than just a bent piece of tube. Bent piece of tube looks great. Nothing wrong with it. I just want to try this, something different. Let's get on with it. So this is the bracketry I'm talking about here. We're going to take this weld off of here, nice and neat, get it down to this tube as best we can without cutting it up too bad. Then we're going to take off this rear foot peg mount, get rid of that, both sides. Clean up these little brackets in here, this little bracket in here. Hang on, get on the picture. A little bracket in here. And the one on the other side. So what I'm going to do here, as you can see, this bracketry is two pieces of mild steel, flat, that are pressed into the shape and then welded along this cap ridge here. Gives you that little raised ridge, which isn't overly pretty, but it's part of the way they did the original bike. And if I want to completely redo it, then I'm going to take off all of this and put a tube from here straight here, pick up this shock mount and around the end. But I want to try to make this look like it kind of came out of the factory, and I'm going to recreate this shape of tube, and I'm going to recreate it so that it goes from this side, nice hoop around here, to this side, right in here. It'll look just factory once I grind it and feather it in. So that's kind of the plan. You want to be careful here and not cut into your main tube. We can grind the weld off fine, but we don't want to cut into the tube at all. Yeah, looks pretty good. I'll reach through and get the other inside from this side and then switch sides and do it the other way. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's two formed pieces of metal welded together with a bead on the edge. Does it look real pretty? Nope. Tubes look prettier all the time. But let's just try to make it similar and look like it was just supposed to be there. It'd be a lot easier without the back wheel on, of course. But then that wouldn't be a challenge, would it? Of course, do the same on both sides, inside, outside. I'll get all that done. Now I just have to decide where along here I'm going to cut this off. I want to bring the back of our hoop around just past the back of the axle in this area for the back. So I've got to cut it off in here somewhere. So I need to get this diameter or distance across here figured so I can start to make my form blocks so that this comes out proper. So when I mate the two up, I can weld it here, blend it, and then you won't see it, and then it should just carry on like this around here. That's the plan. I don't know. Let's see if we can do it. So I've decided that I want to bucket off right about the edge of where we ground off this area here. Actually, you know what? Let's just go a little long to start with, and then we can cut off more or less. No, I don't like that. We cut off more or less as required. There we go. So just past this knockout for the bolt that was here. Take a quick little measurement on that. There we go. We'll cut those both off there for now. I think they might be a little bit too long, but that's fine. We'll deal with that. It's easier to cut off than add on. Okay, let's give this a shot. So that's the shape we're going to have to try to recreate. This looks like fun. Okay, with our measurements that we took for the inside diameter and the outside diameter of our hoop that we're going to put on the back, we wanted about 5 inches deep, I figured, from the back to where it's going to weld on to the stock part of the frame. It's going to weld on here, shocks sit in here, like that. So this part we need to form out of our sheet metal, which is going to be in this shape, 2 halves. The seam will go around the top of here, the same as the seam that already exists on here, and see if we can make it match up and look the same. It's a lot of work, a lot of fooling around, but we'll take a couple of days and see what we can do. Never say never until it doesn't ever work. But rule of 3 always plays on these kind of things. Make 1, doesn't work, but you just learned something. Make 2, doesn't work, but you develop some skills and you learn more. Make 3, develop more skills, and it usually works. So these could take a few builds to get them just right, but let's play with it and see what we get.